Red Letter and Mo News. Mo and I, last time we talked about the primary election, we made some news ourselves.
I think, yeah, Fox News picked up one of the clips.
Yeah, random. But I was like, wait, what? People started sending me clips. This happens sometimes. But anything can happen. That's why you guys all tune in. Thank you for coming. I think we're all trying to break this down. Last night, I was at Mamdani's election party for the AP. I'm sure you were following this as well. But I don't think we have to just focus on Mamdani and what his win means. We can also talk about the blue wave, because that's what it was. Mikey Sherrill. I mean, just as a
Abigail Spanberger, Supreme Court justices in Pennsylvania, statewide seats in Georgia, an overwhelming victory for Gavin Newsom in California, too.
Right. And, as a Jersey girl, I will say that it's something to win by a double-digit, margin in Jersey as a Democrat coming off of a Democratic election. Coming off of a Democratic incumbent, especially an unpopular one like Phil Murphy. Those elections are usually pretty tight in Jersey. And so to see her win so overwhelmingly, and there was a lot of concern that she was only up by 4 points. And so I think that's pretty telling. And let's face it, people in Jersey love Trump. That rally in Wildwood, thousands and thousands of people showed up.
If we had been, if we were chatting right now and Jack Ciattarelli would have won, we wouldn't be surprised in the least.
No, we wouldn't.
Pulled off a victory there. Yeah.
No, but it was double digits. She beat him by 10 points. It's pretty overwhelming. And then Virginia is 15. Republicans now are just like piling on Winsome Sears. What am I saying her name? It's Winsome Earl Sears, excuse me. They are just piling on her. So saying she's a bad candidate, bad campaign, blah, blah, blah. 15 points, though, in Virginia, when you had a very popular governor, Glenn Youngkin, a Republican incumbent.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I have to say, I definitely heard from some Republicans who are like, what? No shocker. Blue areas, were won by blue candidates. I was like, how do you explain Virginia? Especially in light of the fact that you saw statewide there, a number of those Democrats, including Jay Jones, outperformed Kamala Harris last year in Virginia. So there is something to be said there, and I don't think that the president was altogether wrong that he wasn't on the ballot. So a lot of the voters that he has pulled out in recent years who show up to vote for him don't necessarily come out to vote when he's not on the ballot, especially when he's sort of like at a distance because he knew what the result might be. So he didn't like double down. He didn't travel with these candidates. He was like literally phoning it in, right? Doing teletown halls, with a couple of them. And so I think it will be one of the interesting things to watch here of how he Trumpifies or nationalizes next year's midterms, given that he has much more at stake, by keeping the House and Senate. He doesn't want to get impeached for a third time.
Yeah, but, it's interesting. He was so close to Virginia and he didn't even go campaign for her there. And I know that they thought she was going to lose, and there's kind of like this stink of loss that he probably didn't want to be associated with. Correct. But still, he does love to campaign, right? You'd think he would be out in Jersey. I don't think he went out to Jersey either, did he?
He is. No, he didn't. And he's got Bedminster there, No, he
didn't go campaign in Jersey, I don't think either. And
I think he knew what was happening and he didn't want to be blamed. He didn't want the headline to be Republican loss, despite Trump stumping, right? So Trump took the other tack here and said, I support you from afar, but I don't want to be blamed for your loss.
It's interesting. So I've been calling Republicans today. Obviously, Democrats are all gleeful and, they're very happy. So I'm like, well, what are Republicans saying, right? And one Republican said, this might be a symptom of not having Elon Musk anymore on their team, because Elon Musk can pay for the ground operations. And, and that was like really, really helpful for them in 2024. He spent $250 million. Turning Point is not considered the most organized. And they had relied a lot on broadcast and digital and text and mailers. And it seems to be kind of the past, whereas Democrats have their unions, their churches, or get out the vote, pound the payment. And they didn't really use that this time around, Republicans.
I mean, I think it's also a product of the fact that people don't feel great about the economy, right? Like the core reason that many voters voted for Trump and Republicans was, inflation, cost of living.
Right.
I mean, cost of living is sort of the theme of last night, right? Both in New York, but also across the country. And we tend to do this knee jerk in this country now, where we go the guys in charge are not cutting it. And so we're going the other direction. I don't think it's lost on the fact that, Virginia also has so many government workers, right? And so I think was really impacted by Doge. And so I think there's the issues, but also candid quality, right? Matters. We always come down to this whenever we discuss election results. A good candidate is worth a lot, and a bad candidate is tough to overcome.
Yeah, but Mikey Sherrill was seen as sort of a weaker candidate.
Yeah.
And she sort of even touched the third rail of taxes in New Jersey and raising taxes, which was seen as very risky. And, Citarella was supposed to be someone that, I don't know, the Republicans they saw as an opportunity, at least a one win in a night that was a blue wave. What do we make of it all, though, from the left? What do you think? I mean, very polar opposite candidates. You've got Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, Blue Dog Democrats came in on the blue wave against Trump, but with national security backgrounds, right? Both veterans. I think Spanberger is former CIA intelligence, and Mikey Sherrill is a veteran, and they're kind of like hardo women. And then saying they don't want to go anywhere near socialism. And then you've got Mamdani, who is a democratic socialist, saying, I mean, it was all through talking about affordability, but with the label democratic socialist. And I think they both looked at this, all of them looked at this through the tunnel of affordability, though. Mikey Sherrill was talking about lowering energy prices. Abigail Spanberger was talking about affordability as well. So that's where I get to this place where I'm like, who cares what the label is, right? If you're talking about the right message, people don't care. They care about their own issues. They care about if they're in a crisis, an affordability crisis, a cost crisis, inflation crisis, they don't care as much about the label associated. Would you agree, or what do you think?
I think, I mean, coming to you from Manhattan right now, I think that's super here. Let's talk about the New York City mayor's race for a second. I think at the end of the day, what was interesting actually was that exit poll showed in New York that 1 out of 4 people who voted self-described Democratic Socialists. I did not realize that 1 out of 4 New Yorkers was like that. We were 25% self-described socialists. But nonetheless, I think for people, they were like, I don't care what you call it. I want someone who speaks my language and someone who is aspirational, right? I don't know that he's going to get there. The majority of New Yorkers last night said in the exit poll that Mamdani's views are unrealistic. His policy goals are unrealistic, but a good portion of them still voted for him, right? Because he at least is talking the talk. It's not very inspirational to hear Andrew Cuomo say, well, let me tell you why all these things can't happen at a time when it's, affordability is the key issue. And so whether it's Donald Trump saying Mexico's going to pay for a wall, or it's Mamdani saying, I'm going to figure out a way to give you free this and free that, I think people are like, okay, cool. That sounds awesome. Can you make any of that stuff happen? Let's roll the dice.
I actually think it's not within reach, to be honest, having covered City Hall and what his proposals are.
Well, how is he going to pay for all of it without increasing taxes in Albany?
Well, he wants to increase taxes in Albany.
Right.
He can't do it, but he needs Kathy Hochul to do it. And Kathy Hochul also needs him. Greatness. We'll get to the Jay Jones thing, but I want to first answer this question. Thank you for the support, by the way. He needs Kathy Hochul, right? And Kathy Hochul needs him. She's up for re-election. Yes. And she needs progressives to come out in New York. They saved her in the very close race against Republican Lee Zeldin 4 years ago. And so, for free busing, it's about 800 million right now is what they would need. And basically at this point, only half of people actually use free buses.
I mean, I take the bus every day, and I am one of the few people who pay, I think,
Yeah,
as I board every day.
exactly. Universal childcare, excuse me. Universal childcare, healthcare would be very different, is very expensive, but very popular. But they're kind of already there because de Blasio did pre-K, 3K in a lot of areas, 2K.
De
It's something
Blasio, in
that
so many
people
ways,
want.
walked so Zohran can run.
Right. And I saw him in the corner at the party in like the dark, like kind of like
De Blasio.
Yeah, but de Blasio also made a lot of the same mistakes that Zohran made in terms of having a fight with the police before he got into office. Except Zohran is on his apology tour already.
But what do you make of the fact that, like, he wouldn't just do the apology? Like, he talked about, I'm only doing the apology individually. Like, why not just have the moment? Is it a pride thing for him? Or
No,
he's
he
just
put it on Fox. You didn't see it?
I saw it on Fox, but it wasn't like on Fox, he also turned, to camera one. He's like, Donald Trump, I have a message here. He could have been like, NYPD officers, I'm so heartfelt sorry for calling you those things. He didn't do that. He didn't. I mean, I talked to NYPD officers who don't trust him and felt that he danced around the apology without I'm going to do it individually to people. I'm going to express to individuals, as opposed to just having a press conference straight to the camera, which he's very good at doing. And I wonder if, and I know that there are a number of people within the police force who are still, concerned about him and upset about that.
Oh, of course. I mean, he was for defund the police. I mean, that was pretty
clear.
Them
racist and called them a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, exactly.
But and even the Department of Community Safety, right? His $1 billion mental health department alternate to, I guess he could potentially reallocate funds. I mean, that's going to be a huge fight, right? But you're talking about $120 billion budget at City Hall.
No, it's bigger than that.
Is it even bigger than 120? I keep seeing the 120 tossed around.
120 billion?
Yeah.
It's 200, I thought.
It's closer. Okay.
Well, maybe you're right. I thought it was 200 billion budget City Hall. Wait, I should probably do that. Yeah, the annual operating budget of you're right. It is between 120 and it's 120 billion. You're right. Excuse me. I thought it was 200 for some reason. But yeah, and that all comes from the state. And by the way, let's talk a little bit about what he's up against. Okay. So Kathy Hochul will be an ally until her election at the very least, right? She probably won't raise taxes because she's got this election.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Even if you're raising taxes on millionaires, it's not a good thing to raise taxes in an election year.
No. But he does have Senate Democrats in the state, which should help him with funding, which de Blasio didn't have. He had Senate Republicans, and he and Cuomo hated each other. So.
And Cuomo didn't need de Blasio. Whereas Hochul needs the Zohran get out the vote operation. I mean, she's facing a primary challenge, right, from Delgado as well.
Yeah.
And then she's going to have the fight of her life. I think the Elise Stefanik versus Kathy Hochul race is going to be fascinating to watch next year.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Jewish community, though. This morning, waking up to swastikas. Also, as I was walking out of the party, there were people chanting "Free Palestine, right?" And then those were Mamdani supporters. Zohran Mamdani supporters. It was a late night, guys. I'm a little tired right now. And then there were a number of people supporting Israel, right in between. They kind of had them.
Wait, protesters who are outside the Mamdani rally?
Well, half of them were I guess you could call them protesters.
Or they were Mamdani people who happen to be pro-Israel.
Yeah, no, there were Mamdani people that were pro-Palestine and then protesters that were pro-Israel.
Okay.
And they were all together with a, I guess, fenced off police, area. But it was interesting. I mean, and then you wake up in the morning to see a swastika outside of
a Jewish school in Brooklyn.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. I mean, what do you make of all of this? You're Jewish, and I know you've been following this closely.
Yeah, the Jewish community is understandably on edge. We live our lives on edge. Okay, it's part of the deal as Jews going back several millennia. We have I think the exit poll showed that 2/3 of Jews either voted for Sliwa or Cuomo. Mamdani got about 30%. Now, keep in mind, Jews is like, we're a religion, we're an ethnicity, we're a nationality.
Right.
There's multiple levels to Jewish identity, which is why you have the Landers and the Mandy Patinkins and others of the world, Ilana Glazer, supporting Mamdani, but then you have the vast majority of the Jewish community that had concerns about him because like whether it's his friendship with Hassan Piker or whether it's
He was there
folks.
last night.
I saw him.
Yeah.
There's a clip of him of Piker circulating, where he's talking about like how unfortunate it was that the U.S. defeated the Soviet Union. I mean, you have that. Obviously, there was the New York Post cover.
Oh my God, the New York Post cover. If you can get that, Eric, I think you could maybe show everyone.
Yeah, you got to show. I mean, the New York Post, which has gone like scorched earth.
Oh, I predicted this. Yeah.
And by the way,
Always.
the Mamdani 4 years, the next 4 years are going to be huge for the New York Post. In terms of like a confrontational, like an opportunity for them, sort of like the de Blasio years.
The de Blasio years were insane. I covered him then for the.
And I'll say, just to wrap up your question on Jews, felt like, okay, he gave a line last night about anti-Semitism, but it's not altogether different from what he'd been saying. And Jews are generally worried about their safety in the city, worried about vibes in the city. The swastikas this morning certainly reinforced that. The feeling that New York City has a significant more than 1 million Jews live here. Incidentally, it turns out that as much as these stereotypes and conspiracy theories exist about us being all powerful and the Jews control everything, well, it goes to show you that a city that has the most Jews in the world, someone who is vehemently anti-Zionist, right, vehemently against Israel, was able to win the mayorship pretty handily. And so I think Jews this morning and the coming weeks, I think there's a group of Jews who are like crazy freaked out right now, like comparing this to like 1930s Germany. I think that group of Jews needs to like take a deep breath. And then there are the Jews, the Ilana Glazers and aforementioned folks that are like dismissing all of it, right? Like, you guys are crazy. Everything's fine. And I think most Jews probably fall somewhere in the middle, which is like, there is a concern of what this means. There are questions as to how much power the mayor has. And, already as Jews, we live in a city where, you have NYPD and security to every single Jewish school and synagogue in the city. You live your life under threat, concerned about various threats. And so, you saw Mamdani like jump pretty quickly to condemn the swastika. But the question is, are people who have those feelings do they feel more comfortable in a Mamdani New York? And that's the concern I think Jews genuinely have. And I think it's very much a wait and see as to what that'll all mean. But I think they continue to be on edge here. And, I think the Jessica Tisch decision, whether he actually generally invites her to remain as NYPD commissioner and whether she stays and what the policies look like, will be one of the key things that I think the Jewish community will be looking at.
I think that the plan is to keep her. That's what he signaled.
Well, to invite her to stay. Now, does she want to continue to be NYPD commissioner, under Mamdani, given some of the policies that he's going to pursue? That's going to be the big question for her.
And he's going to need the NYPD, not only because they have almost veto power over his mayorship, and they could make it really difficult, especially when he may be up against the National Guard and Department of Homeland Security officers, ICE officers, coming into the city. I found that he was very provocative last night in his speech, telling Trump, we're going to turn it up. Like, I was like, whoa.
Turn the volume up.
I was
right?
like, what? I mean,
it was very much activist. It was very much active Mamdani, because we've seen sort of a softer, cuddlier, version of Mamdani during the campaign trail. But last night was very much him in his like activist roots, being like, I won, like, Trump, look at camera number one. This is my message to you. Like, it was, and he also like really took up expectations for what he thinks he can accomplish. I mean, it was a, I use the word on our Instagram page, like a defiant speech by Zohran Mamdani. Like, I won. This is why I won. Let me congratulate everyone who helped me win. There was no real olive branch to the 49.9% of New Yorkers who didn't vote for him, right? And he very much decided to like start the next stage of the back and forth with Trump here.
which is so unhelpful because he
I
can
think
withhold funds to the state.
it's a sign of, I think, his lack of experience, right? Like, you're starting a fight with Trump. Like, Trump's got several decades on you. He's done this for a while. Like, I
And he would relish it. Although Trump does own a lot of property in New York. So I think he also understands that it could impact his bottom line if he is too antagonistic to New York. It's interesting that he didn't go there first. He went to Portland, he went to Chicago, he went to California. I wonder if if he doesn't want to attack the city where he owns so much property.
Or he's had to deal with Eric Adams, right? And so, like, Eric and him have been sort of, and even Tom Homan is talking to Eric Adams.
Yeah.
And so I think that, that's why it was so interesting this summer when there was like a moment in time when the White House was like very much trying to figure out, or at least publicly showing, how do we prevent a Mamdani as mayor? And certainly there's downside, right, for Republicans, but there's certain upside here for Trump, as he is so good at sort of like taking one issue or one individual and like making them out to be something bigger. And I think he has a real opportunity here with Mamdani. I think he will have the help of News Corp, right, and Fox News, and like ultimately over the if the midterms don't seem to be going the right direction, nationalizing the New York situation and a Democratic socialist as mayor will certainly be helpful to Trump.
Yeah.
How can you let the Democrats go in? Look, they're electing a bunch of socialists right now.
Right. But I know Steve Bannon, former Trump advisor, still sort of advisor.
Well, he's the secret advisor on 2028. He has the secret plan to make Trump president again. Yes,
exactly. He did, fire some warning shots this morning on his show, saying that Republicans should not be giddy over the fact that the left is organizing against the establishment and that they are rising up, the Bernie bros, which I've been saying all along. They're the base. They're coming out for their own.
The left's MAGA. The left is having its own MAGA moment.
Right. And meanwhile, the MAGA is going through its kind of civil war over this Nick Fuentes stuff. And, the fact that Tucker Carlson platformed a white nationalist, but he's a guy that President Trump also had dinner with. And at the same time,
no, it's not clear like how much, like sort of was Trump just at the club and being like, oh, Kanye is bringing a guy. Like, how much do we know in the end that like Trump knew about Fuentes going in, about that dinner that he had?
I mean, he'll say he didn't know anything, right?
Right. Oh, I mean, that's what he says. Like,
yeah.
But nonetheless, the fight here has been fascinating. Did you watch the Ben Shapiro, like 40-minute takedown of Tucker Carlson?
No, I didn't. So you couldn't watch it for me. No,
I did actually. I did watch it. We put together a 3-minute highlight reel. If you check out the Mo News Instagram page, you'll get the 3 minutes of you'll get a feel for what Shapiro said. But it was like everything from like, Tucker Carlson let Nick Fuentes cuck him, like, like he went at it. I called him like an intellectual launderer of like the most extreme. Like Ben Shapiro like did quite a takedown of Tucker Carlson. And to see sort of these like fault lines develop around all of this in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk, right? There's sort of a fight here of the future of Gen Z and millennial conservatives.
Yeah.
Who, and key to that is, what does MAGA look like? Trump is holding this coalition together. That he's put together, that he's sort of uniquely adapted, putting together, right? The populist stuff, he can sort of get away with whatever he wants to on foreign policy.
He's scared the F out of the establishment, so they have to hang on for dear life, right?
Yeah, and in the aftermath of Trump, how does the coalition stick together here? And I think that you do see folks on like the fringe right, like Nick Fuentes, like, however Candace Owens has been doing her thing, right? Like sort of like seeing opportunity to seize Turning Point USA and like seize the momentum here. As, we talk about like Democrats from across the spectrum winning last night. Like, what is a Democrat? Like, what is a Republican moving forward here? And what's left of the, we saw Dick Cheney died yesterday, but like the vestiges of that old Republican guard, whatever's left of it, the Nikki Haley wing
now.
Bulwark. Yeah, well, some are, but like Dispatch, right? Like they didn't go so far as to endorse Kamala Harris. And then you sort of have, the populist, blue collar workers. You still have the Chamber of Commerce Republicans. And how do you keep that whole crew together? You have the America Firsters, but then you have America Firsters, but for Israel. But now you see sort of the anti-Israel wing of the party, building up there. So it's we were chatting about this earlier, like sort of waiting for Trump to chime in here. But again, he's sort of scotch taping the thing together.
Yeah, so he's not going to want to comment on it. He's going to be like, the whole thing that's the scotch tape is the fear of Trump. That is the scotch tape.
Yeah.
But when someone becomes more compelling and can really lead the people astray, the lost sheep, that'll be a moment. And I do think that Trump abandoning America first, I do think that is something that a lot of these people voted for. And you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about it too.
What's going on with her, by the way? I've been so fascinated. She's doing Bill Maher. She's doing The View. She's like coming out against Trump. Like, what's happening with her?
All right. Well, I reported this in the Red Letter. So everybody who wanted the inside scoop, you can go to the Red Letter at tarapalmeri.com, and I have the inside. I reported this a few weeks ago, but basically she's been on a bit of a revenge tour after Trump's political team told her not to run statewide in Georgia. This was back in May. And ever since then, she's been annoyed, and she acts from her gut. She's a bit more like a guttural character, not very strategic. And this is her way of really, sticking it to them. And I do think that what she's saying she believes, but I just think she'd be more likely to keep it to herself. But now she just doesn't really care. But yeah, she's not very strategic. But ultimately,
right.
She's annoyed. She's annoyed. She wanted to run. And she's, what she also is annoyed about? She's not in the cabinet.
Yeah.
She feels like she campaigned really hard for them. She feels like she got passed over. I remember I interviewed her at Mar-a-Lago during Trump's primary election party. And she was like, could pull out Katie Britt's heritage score out of nowhere. Like was watching everyone, and that she saw as someone who could possibly take her place. And she was like, I want to be VP, DHS. Like it was,
Well, I remember sitting in the box with Trump at the convention. There's only a handful of seats there. It was like, oh, she's definitely like secretary. And then she saw like Kristi Noem get a cabinet slot, right? And then she saw like Elise Stefanik.
She talked about it. She said, why are all these new people coming in? What's going on? What about the true loyal? She said that on the record, loyal MAGA. And so this is what you're seeing now. It's like an not unhinged, but unchanged. Because I don't actually think everything she's saying is wrong. Like the Epstein files should be released. A lot of people who did vote for America First are wondering, why is Trump involved in all of these wars? What, is he going to Africa now? It's like Venezuela.
Right. He's like solving all these wars, but then he's like threatening war on Nigeria, on Venezuela, where we have like a quarter of all of our naval assets, right? We got an aircraft carrier going there. We're going to like engage in a regime change. Like I thought he's the guy who was like, Iraq was a mistake, and like we shouldn't be doing that stuff anymore, except if I declare it, necessary.
Yeah. Well, I did get a question here that I feel like I need to answer because it was asked twice. How could anyone vote and support Jay Jones in Virginia? He was the candidate for, well, now he's going to be the attorney general in Virginia after he
texted death wishes upon a Republican leader and like talked about taking joy in like the death of his children to like get guns. I mean, some really like disgusting things.
But that just shows you like how much people hate the Republicans right now. It's crazy. And I do think that applies.
Well, it's also it's how partisan things have gotten. Like you are now willing to like put aside, like many voters are willing to put aside major character issues because of either their hatred of the other side or their belief in certain issues. And you're seeing that more. I mean, like, look, like, the guy who lost last night in New York City was Andrew Cuomo again. Like the last time we did a live, we talked about Cuomo losing the last time. And, he has major flaws and major issues. And there are a whole bunch of people that like, legitimately tried to, plug their nose and vote for him because, again, they were more concerned about Mamdani. And again, I'm not equating what Jay Jones texted with, but like they all have their various flaws. But I think we've entered this partisan era where it's like my party, my color, blue or red.
What can you do for me? It's more important than anything else. What can you
He's
do?
going to cut my taxes. He's going to do X, Y, Z, right?
That's why I always took exception to people that said that everyone who votes for Trump is a bigot. Because I'm like, I don't think that everyone who votes for Trump is a bigot. I think a lot of them just think that he's going to do a better job. It's going to do better things for them. Like they only care about that.
Right. Like if I'm a crypto person, I wanted to vote for Trump. If I'm a Wall Street person, I wanted less regulation. Right. Like, there were many reasons. And like, depending on your sector, like if you're like, I talked to somebody recently in the energy world, in the oil business, and they're like, Trump's doing stuff for us we don't even ask for. Like we don't even need as much as he's been incredible to us. Like he's like, administration is just like offering this left, right, and this left, right, and center. And we're like, we don't even need that stuff. Like, thank you. Like we're good right now in terms of what you're doing. And so, yeah, there's, many reasons that people pick their candidates. And I think in Virginia, you saw this like really, blue wave. And so even if Jay Jones wrote these disgusting things, you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't want the other side in there. So,
okay. I got some breaking news, guys.
All right.
One source told Notice Marjorie Taylor Greene believes she has the national donor network to win the primary. And we are talking about the presidential primary. So, yeah, I kind of had a feeling that it might come down to that she feels like she understands the base better than Trump and that she's going to be the leader of MAGA.
2028 is Marjorie versus AOC.
No wonder AOC's been ripping on her now. It's funny.
But they both like, this is the thing. And we've seen this covering Congress for a while now, is that you've seen the rise in the social media era of these like social media members of Congress who I don't know what they're doing in terms of legislation, but they certainly know how to make, connections on social media and get millions of followers and do television hits and TikTok videos, etc. And, I coming off of Trump winning twice, this is our era. Like if you can communicate there and like rile up a base and, get a bunch of small donors, like you have a real opportunity. The parties don't mean anything anymore. I mean, again, look what happened in New York.
Totally. And I just, obviously she'll have to get through the presidential primary.
Right. Like, I think she'll have a very difficult time running against J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio.
Well, it depends on how Trump looks after that. I mean, this is 1 year deep and Republicans certainly suffered in this off-year election. Does J.D. Vance have that same ability to mobilize voters? Does he charm the same? Like, I don't know that
he doesn't have the charisma, right? No one does. Like, I've watched J.D. Vance at rallies. Like, he's fine, but he's not like Trump.
He's also not a good retail politician. Like, having met him and talked to him, he is an introvert, actually. And he can be a little rude. Not like terribly rude, but just awkward, And these guys, the best politicians are seducers. Yep. Seriously, they are. They want to win everybody's vote.
The first person that came to mind was Bill Clinton. Like, just like being in a conversation with Bill Clinton. Like, Bill Clinton makes you feel, even as a guy he's not interested in, like you're the only person in the world.
But they are. I mean, they're all seducers, the best politicians. John Edwards.
Well, he took seducing to the next level there.
Yeah. So productive. All right. We're getting to that half-hour point. Any last thoughts, Mosh, about the election and what to take away from all this?
We didn't mention California yet. And I think that was probably one of the more significant things on two levels, right? One, Democrats can hold their own as these red states redistrict, right? California was the big kahuna, so they can get 5 blue seats to compete with Texas and North Carolina and Missouri, who are all adding various red seats. That's something in the Dem fight for the House next year, because I don't see a scenario where the Dems are taking the Senate. There'd have to be some crazy thing that unfold there, and we could do a separate episode on the Senate seats that are up next year. But two, big win for Gavin Newsom, right? Like, as we've been sort of watching his, what's his journey?
He knows what his journey is to the White House.
Well, yeah, he has a vision of it. But beyond that, I just have to say, we always on these days are like, okay, what does this all mean? Like, what happened yesterday? What does it all mean? By next week, by next month, we won't even be talking about these midterms.
I don't actually. I've seen the numbers, or nobody's talking about it anymore. It's actually over. As even today. Even say people are over it. They're like, whatever, cool.
No, we were even talking about what we're posting on our Instagram page, and I was like, hey, guys, I think we're done with the election stuff at this point. Like, anything before noon, afternoon, we're done. Like, we're moving into the next thing.
That's it. Bye. Guys, thank you for all of this. We'll let you get back to your wonderful lives. Thanks for tuning in to Mo News, Tara Palmeri Show meets Red Letter. Please subscribe to both. Keep us independent. And
we depend on you
to be independent.
Until we're bought by Paramount.
What? Oh, yeah. Were you bought by Paramount?
No, Barry Weiss. Free Press was bought by Paramount.
Like it's not so free anymore. It's actually chained. So now that the Free Press has been chained, you can now support true independence. Thank you guys, and we'll see you back. We should do this more regularly. So
yes, let's make it a month.